Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 1st, 2024 legislative session of the town of Austining. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, are we going to do my announcements? Yeah. Okay. All right. This month is National Hispanic Heritage Month. There are going to be many community events celebrating this month. This afternoon, there was a gathering at Westchester County. And there are many more around, so keep an eye on our update. Friday, October 4th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Austining High School is a National Night with a K, Out Police and Community Partnership event. There will be food, face painting, games, and more. The Project Mover e-bike program is going to be celebrating a ribbon cutting on the corner of Spring and Main Streets. This will be taking place on Wednesday, October 9th at 4:30 p.m. If you're interested in learning more about Project Mover and how to use these e-bikes, please visit projectmoverbikeshare.com. Westchester Collaborative Theater is starting their fall classes. Please visit their website at wcttheater.org for the schedule and more information. Bethany Arts Community is hosting the Arttoberfest. Great event. It's currently set for October 5th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Westchester County Department of Environmental Facilities is hosting a compost give back event on Sunday, October 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Croton Point Park. Please register in advance at the westchester.gov environmental website. The Jazz Picnic at Dale Cemetery, always a good time, will be held Sunday, October 6th, this Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. This event is hosted by the Austining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy and is $25. On October 9th, Westchester County will be hosting the Diverse Abilities Job Fair at the Westchester County Center. There is a QR code to register as either job seeker or a provider on my supervisor's update. T-Town will be running Fantastic Fossils event on Saturday, October 12th at 1 p.m. for National Fossil Day. The Hope Store Advisory Council is hosting a hopeful evening in observance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This event is to fundraise in order to help fight against domestic violence and protect our community. It will be held October 16th at 6 p.m. For more information, please visit the Hope Store website or Facebook page. The Community Center, in collaboration with Westchester Collaborative Theater, will be running The Haunted Kill on Friday, October 18th from 6 to 10 p.m. The attractions include the Trail of Terror and live music. Scared already. On Sunday, October 20th, Westchester County Department of Emergency Services will be hosting the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service at 10 a.m. at the Valhalla Training Center. The Community Center will be hosting a special needs Kids Halloween Night out on October 30th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Crafts, snacks, games for the children and their caretakers. As always, our Austining Public Library will have many events, including movies, craft events, meditation, tutoring, yoga, book clubs, and more. Please see their website at austinglibrary.org for more information. And for many more community events and happenings, please check out my supervisor's update on the supervisor's webpage. Town of Austining supervisor's webpage. Thank you. Any of my colleagues have?
No, Martha does.
Martha does.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to highlight, speaking about Hispanic Heritage Month, that the library this Thursday is gonna be having a partnership with the Wichana Foundation, and they're gonna be showcasing Ecuador's Quechua community. They're gonna be bringing textile weaving, and they're gonna present a documentary, and they actually have a photography exhibit of the Quechua indigenous elders happening at the library. And the event is gonna be this Thursday. They are requesting people to please sign up, saying that they're gonna attend the event. But the portraits of the Indigenous elders, they're gonna be having an art reception this Sunday, next Sunday, October 13th. So people can go and see the picture. So in honor Hispanic Heritage Month, it'd be a really good idea to go check it out.
Nice.
Thanks.
I just want to wish everybody, whether you celebrate or not, tomorrow starts Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and I wanted to wish everyone a very happy New Year.
Happy, healthy, peaceful, please God, New Year.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on. Martha, are they here?
So we should have some representatives from Harris Beach, Adriana Baranello and Andrew Camarami. I apologize if I mispronounced that, to speak to the board about certain projects that are happening in the village of Ossining, but that require a pilot payment in lieu of taxes agreement that requires the involvement of the town board.
Hi, good evening. Let me just, do we have Andrew as well? Or,
Not yet.
I do not see Andrew here. I only see you, Adriana.
Well, that's fine.
all right, let me, I apologize, give me
Wanna
2
switch to
seconds
the
and
next?
I will see if I can get him.
Do you want us to move on to the next agenda item and come back to you?
That would be wonderful, thank you. Apologies.
Okay. The next agenda item is the item, I have no words today. Okay, discussion for the town support for urging the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to adopt a not protective determination on its third 5-year review concerning the Hudson River PCB cleanup. So basically, as most of us know, GE had deposited a lot of chemicals upstate in the Hudson River over a period of many, many years. It's been ongoing. The discussion of cleanup has been ongoing. There was, in I think 2017, they determined they were going to dig the PCBs out, or got the data right here. I feel like it was done before that. All right. Okay. All right, GE for 30 years from 1947 to 1977 dumped polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, into the Hudson River from 2 capacitor manufacturing plants located in the towns of Fort Edward and Hudson Falls, New York. And as a result of that, the PCB contamination, the EPA designated a 200-mile stretch of the Hudson River from Fort Edward all the way down to New York Harbor as a Superfund site in 1984. And all right, PCBs are man-made, bioaccumulative, persistent organic pollutants, which have been linked to a wide variety of adverse health effects, including, among others, cancers, liver disease, kidney disorders, reduced birth weights, conception rates, live birth. Anyway, a host of problems, including knocking out our raptor population, bald eagles and ospreys and the like. So whereas in 2002, the EPA selected a 2-part cleanup to address the in-river sediments in the upper Hudson River, a 40-mile stretch between Fort Edward and Troy Dam was targeted, and they did dredging. And basically afterwards, it didn't really work. They did not get, I'm gonna skip all this and say, they took a whole bunch out, but the testing, whereas it dropped for a while, they determined that it was much more widespread and that the numbers are not necessarily going down as quickly or as thoroughly, and they're even, sometimes with the storms coming back up. So there is a public comment period, as every 5 years, they're required to reevaluate what's going on with this Superfund site. And there is a call to urge the EPA to adopt a not protective determination in the third 5-year review. This is the third time, and acknowledge the failure of the Upper Hudson remedy to meet the goals and objectives of the cleanup. The EPA must begin the process of assessing additional remediation active actions to protect the environment and our vulnerable communities along the Hudson, including the 5 that drink the river water, who will otherwise continue to be exposed to the toxic levels of PCBs for generations to come, not to mention the wildlife. So, this is a resolution in support of asking the EPA to have the determination, the not protective determination. And we will be, you have the information in your emails, which you've already seen, I'm sure. And so I personally would like to send a letter in support of the not. Any,
The same way you do.
It's like Aaron Brockovich.
exactly,
So we're
but
gonna,
underwater.
Right.
so we would be basically approving the draft, we will send a draft resolution. And we would be approving it at next board meeting, and then we're gonna be sending it to the 4 different departments that have been requested to be sent to, so we'll be sending that resolution.
Okay, thank you. All right, did you find your friend?
Adriana, I see somebody here with a bunch of digits on, is that him?
I believe so, yes. He was having a little bit of trouble joining, but that should be him.
That
He,
should be him?
I could
Okay.
hear the meeting through my phone, so he should be right there, yes.
I'm promoting him to panelist right now, let's see.
Thank you so much.
Just wanted to confirm, it's just random numbers that I saw.
Perfect, thank you.
That's an interesting name.
Perfect. Yep, I think that worked. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Okay, we hear you have things to tell us.
So the reason why we asked Andrew and Adriana to come tonight was because it was recently presented that there are some projects going on in the village of Ossining where they are requesting a payment in lieu of taxes, and because the town in Westchester County is the jurisdiction that is primarily responsible for handling and overseeing such things, they would need ultimate sign off and contractual agreement with the town of Ossining. And since it's in the village, the town has not previously been integrally involved in these projects. So we thought it would be a good I thought it would be a good idea. I won't blame it on anyone else, but I thought it would be a good idea if Adriana and Andrew could join us, so that they could just explain a little bit about what's going on with these projects, what they're asking for, and what they're, and specifically from the town board. So thank you both for being here.
Absolutely. Very nice to meet everyone, and thank you for allowing us to come on. We're gonna try to make this very quick. I think just so that you know what projects we're talking about, I'll ask Adriana just to very briefly describe the 2 projects and the location, and then I'm going to go into the documentary issues.
So the first project is WB 30 Water Street. So it's at 30 Water Street, right in the village, across from the train station. They are going to be remediating the brownfield at the former DPW site and constructing an affordable housing facility, as well as a number of significant improvements, municipal improvements. They're extending the greenway. They are going to do some structural work. They are going to have a public parking, part of the parking garage will be reserved for public use, and a large community space that the village will be using for events. And the second project is Crescent Manor. It is also an affordable housing project at 136 to 140 Croton Avenue. That is an affordable housing project for senior citizens. And that is also right in the center of the village, well located with transit, and we'll have parking and a small retail space.
So, thank you, Adriana. So both of these projects are getting very close to their closing of their financing. And they are both involved with the County Industrial Development Agency. Insofar as the county IDA is providing certain types of financial assistance for both of these projects. In addition to the IDA, the county is providing other direct assistance under their Flex Fund program. Just by way of background, the type of assistance the IDA provides is sales tax exemption on the materials that go into constructing these facilities, as well as a tax agreement that manages the property taxes on these facilities. Westchester County is unique in this context because almost everywhere else in the state, the IDAs have, unfettered authority to set these tax agreements. But in Westchester County, the county IDA by law basically has to look to the municipalities. So for both of these projects, the village negotiated the tax agreement, and other than approvals in the ordinary course, the village isn't really involved with the IDA process. The reason why the town is involved, because there is a really, I would say, unique document that is not legally required, but it is something that certain IDAs decide to implement, but not others. And this document is a so-called pilot mortgage. And the idea of this document is to provide additional security for the impacted tax jurisdictions when a pilot agreement is in place. Normally, these pilot mortgages run in favor of the municipality where the project is located. But in the case of the village of Ossining, we understand that the town acts as the collector of taxes. So it made sense to make the town the mortgagee under this pilot mortgage for the benefit of all the impacted tax jurisdictions. We sort of, don't want to play this up because pilot mortgages are very frequently done in the state of New York. I don't think a single one has ever been foreclosed, at least not in recent memory. I would think of it as belts and suspenders. The main reason, the legal reason for them is when you have a tax agreement, otherwise also known as a pilot agreement in place. The property pays this payment in lieu of taxes, while the property is not on the tax rolls. So if there's a default, it's difficult to put a tax lien on the property immediately. Of course, if there's a default, the IDA can terminate the project and the property goes back on the tax rolls. So within probably a half year lag, the municipalities regain the ability to put a tax lien on the property. Pilot mortgages sort of try to close this gap and provide for an additional stick in the hands of the municipalities if there was not a payment made, if there was a payment default under these tax agreements. So in these proposed cases, the town would be a mortgagee, so it is a benefit running in favor of the town on behalf of the other taxing jurisdictions. With respect to one of the mortgages, with Crescent Manor, it is expected to be a senior lien at this time, correct, Adriana? I'm describing it correctly. And with respect to WB 30, which again, both of these are affordable housing projects. In the case of WB 30, there is state financing done through HFA and a federal mortgage insurance through Sonny Mae. Sonny Mae's underwriting requirements dictate that their mortgage comes first. So in that case, the pilot mortgage will be a junior lien, but will have senior payment rights ahead of the other mortgages. I think this was a handful, so I'm going to stop here to see if you have any questions.
We just flash and just.
Sorry, I need to crank up the volume here because
Better?
I didn't hear you. Would you?
No, I apologize. I didn't have my mic on. This is Christy. I was just wondering if you could just flesh out a little bit the concept of mortgagee, because I think that's probably something that's a little bit new to the town board. And obviously, as far as I understand it, it doesn't mean that the town is providing any of the financing. I think what you were trying to say is that it provides an additional mechanism, and please correct me if I'm wrong. It provides additional mechanism for the town to enforce it should the payments not be made. Is that correct?
That is correct. So this is purely a benefit for the town. One, that the Westchester IDA, by its typical practices, does. It's not even one that is required under state law. In many other jurisdictions, these mortgages run directly to the IDA. So if Westchester County elected to do it that way, you would probably not even hear about this. But in the interest of transparency, the way Westchester County IDA handles these pilot mortgages, they basically say that it should run in favor of the municipality that is the tax collector, hence the town being the mortgagee. So the town is not undertaking any liability or any obligation. And in fact, the town is only being asked to sign in by way of acknowledgement. So again, there is no real undertaking on behalf of the town here. With one of the two, it is expected that there is going to be this subordination intercreditor agreement that I mentioned before. So the town may be asked to sign that, which really just acknowledges that for lien purposes, this mortgage slides behind the financing mortgages, but it is specifically stated that the town and all the tax jurisdictions who enjoy the benefit of this mortgage, despite the junior lien, enjoy a seniority in payment rights.
Okay, so one, I feel like you should have come to us a lot sooner. Let's just start with that. If you're asking us to be a part of this. So are you telling me that you're saying that we're only going to be signing this? And I mean, are you not going to be like every other pilot program where we administer it and we have a lot of paperwork to do?
No, you are not administering this pilot because this is a pilot under New York State law, under Section 18A of the General Municipal Law, administered by the Westchester County Industrial Development Agency.
Yeah, no.
Okay, hi, good evening. My name is Martha. I'm the budget officer for the town. So right now, currently, we are actively administrating 3 pilot programs for the town on
For the
behalf
IDA.
of, I'm sorry?
For the county.
Yes, for the county, there's 3 pilot programs. We just wrapped up one last year. So I'm just a little bit confused and a little concerned as to how this one will be different to the 3 other pilot programs that we had. And just to give you,
It will not be different. So this is a typical county pilot where
Yeah. yeah, and we understand, and I think it's just the
So the-
use of the term mortgage is kind of throwing me off a little bit because the other ones have just been known as pilot contracts that have been signed off by the village, by the town. And it basically details, listen, this is how the tax collection is gonna go.
Mhm.
We get that contract, we basically create an Excel chart. We do, we get all the rates, we put it in, and then we mail it an email of the bill and we get that payment back by April 30th.
We manage the program
Yeah.
according to the terms of the contract, which is an awful lot of paperwork, but it's something that should have been brought to our attention earlier is one of my main points, but is it gonna be the same as the other pilots that we manage for the
Oh.
community?
It's going to be exactly like any other pilot the Westchester IDA does. And the ones that you're currently running, I don't know if there was a mortgage involved, but again, the mortgage doesn't put any additional obligation on you. It is a security instrument in your benefit. So if there was one in the prior ones, maybe it wasn't, discussed with you, maybe you have seen it, maybe at that time, no one thought too much of it to discuss it. We understood that you wanted a little bit of a briefing on the mortgages, but again, the best way to think of them is it is additional security for you. It does not create any obligation on you.
So as you might know, our meetings are recorded. Some people watch our meetings live. Some people watch our meetings weeks later on YouTube.
Mhm.
And I think, I'm sorry, I need to back up this conversation all the way up. And could the two of you please introduce yourselves, what organization you represent, what firm you're with? No one knows who you are.
Absolutely.
Besides the five of us. And so someone watching this weeks from now is going to be like, who are these people? They don't work for the village. So could you please introduce yourselves like fully?
I apologize for not doing
No,
that
it's not your fault. I'm just thinking,
earlier.
thank you.
So my name is Andrew Kumarumi. I am an attorney and a partner with the law firm of Harris Beach. My colleague is Adriana Baranello, also with Harris Beach, and we are counsel to the Westchester County Industrial Development Agency.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I have a few questions here. So first of all, the mortgagee situation, why is that beneficial to a typical tax foreclosure? If the mortgage to the IDA is not paid, why would that be preferred to us rather than not paying tax?
Sure, the payments are not to the IDA. The payments under these agreements go to the town and then gets distributed to the tax jurisdictions. So this is a enforcement mechanism if there is a failure of this entity to make their pilot payments. These payments, these tax agreements or pilot payments take the place of property tax payments. So
Right. I guess my point is if there was a tax payment, we could theoretically have a similar mechanism, correct?
there would be a tax lien if taxes are not paid.
Right. So I wouldn't say it's superior, it's just the same.
That's right. Correct. So
I
that
think what Andrew actually said is that the rights of the town and the municipalities under this mortgage concept would be inferior or lesser than to the lender, correct?
well, you're right as to payment, and this is somewhat hard to grasp hybrid concept, but to facilitate these federal agencies that secure the finance or ensure the finance mortgages, and as a result make these projects possible. They have strict underwriting requirements that they have to be in first place. So this is really just a way to accommodate them, that they can demonstrate that indeed they are in a senior lien, but they recognize that any payment collected, any first dollar would have to go to pay these delinquent, if you will, tax payments that are payments in lieu of taxes. So it's sort of an artificially provided junior lien but the payment seniority is still insured.
So moving off of that for a second, you mentioned there's an IDA benefit for the developer.
Yes,
There's a pilot, potentially.
that's
There a brownfield tax credit as well?
yes. So these affordable housing projects have a complicated capital stack, and their financing comes together from a variety of sources. And somewhere in there, one of the source is the assistance provided by industrial development agencies, in this instance, the Westchester IDA. But yes, in one of the projects, indeed, there are brownfield tax credits. In the other project, Crescent Manor, you have tax exempt bonds through HFA. You have 4% low income housing tax credits. So both of them have complicated capital stacks, and the IDA's involvement is just one piece in the puzzle.
That's an awful lot of tax credits for the developer, wouldn't you agree?
I have no view on that subject.
Yeah. And do we have an estimate of what the tax payment would be if there was no pilot?
I think you can obtain that from the village. The draft documents contain the pilot schedules, and they were negotiated between the developer and the village.
Okay. Let me go back a step. Have you closed on this property?
Are you asking?
Has the developer closed on the property? Do you know?
No, these are ongoing transactions, and they are slated to close later in the month of October.
Okay, my impression was they were attempting to close last week or earlier this week. I forget. Okay. So you've been working with the village for a long time to create this.
The developer has been engaged in both instances with the village for quite some time, for a very long time.
Okay. Do you have any questions? You want to start?
Just fresh, yeah, it's fresh to me, and like I said, I think I would like to see the other supporting documents if we can. I mean, and I would always take your advice, Corporation Council. I mean, to see.
There were several lengthy documents that were provided last week, that I'm still, but it only relates to 30 Water. I don't think and some of them were templates, from a previous project that had been done. So I don't think the documents are actually fully completed. Is that correct, Adriana?
They're close to completed, and the 136 to the Crescent Manor documents are substantially identical to the Water Street documents, with the project information changed.
Yeah, so I guess it's just a matter of the board digesting this information, maybe having some conversations with the village, and then going through the documents to see if there's anything, but.
All right, so
I
I'm
don't
gonna consider
anticipate-
this a preliminary conversation and not a finishing conversation. So when we signed on to the Snowden House pilot program, the Maple House pilot program, we were a party that was signing on to the pilot program. So I'm trying to understand, are we just administering this pilot program, or are we signing on as one of the entities that is participating in the pilot?
I'm not sure, Adrian, is Maple House a Westchester IDA project?
It
It's
is
not a pilot.
quite old. It is, all of the existing projects in Ossining have been in place for quite a long time. So the documents are different than ours. I looked at them. I can't remember off the top of my head if the town and village were parties to the agreement or only acknowledging parties. It may have been done differently in the past.
So,
Okay.
so I think that town's involvement in this instance, at least based on our prior conversations with the village and you, is is as, you know, the recipient of the payments under the pilot agreement.
Yes, we receive them and as the town receives the taxes for the town and county.
Right.
Not the village taxes, but we receive the town and county taxes and we've been administering the pilots for the 3 or 4. We just finally got rid of one and we were excited, but now there's 2. All right, let me ask, do my colleagues have any more questions?
My questions were answered.
Okay.
I do have one more question. When I first heard about 30 Water Street a long time ago, it was my understanding it was gonna be a mixed use property, so like commercial on the ground floor and then apartments above. Is that now changed?
There is a public space. I don't believe it's fully commercial, but it is a meeting space, an event space, I believe.
Okay, now I think that might have been a different idea than, again, this was a very long time ago when it was first discussed. I thought it was gonna be like more like retail space on the bottom. Or, you know, some other commercial type of space, but just checking on that. Thank you.
Okay. I think the board agrees that we're gonna take this as a good first step informational session and we're gonna wait for Christy to receive the rest of the information digested and advise us on what she sees in it, and we will have you back or go forward.
And then I guess if there's any additional information you want from the village.
And yeah, we're definitely gonna be asking the village for some more information, possibly the developer to have a conversation about. You know, I've been following the projects, but I think the board deserves to hear why this is a benefit to the community and why we would consider this. If we are indeed one of the parties signing off on, as an active party, signing off from the agreement.
And
As
it's both-
opposed
it's
to the
both properties,
administrators.
right? It's both properties, not just one.
Well, I mean, I think they're doing one at a time, but Chrissy thought it was important for
Right,
us to
right.
understand that 2 are going on and both are going on, although they're different
My
types
understanding,
of projects.
sorry. to
It's the
interrupt.
same,
Yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
developer, same idea,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know if it's the same. I can't speak to whether
I don't
it's
know if
the
it's the
same
same.
No, no,
developer.
it is the same idea, and again, the only document I think you're being asked to sign is this mortgage, which is something in your benefit that you only see because the Westchester IDA uses this as, which I think is, you know, very good corporate housekeeping on their part. Many IDAs in the state do not require pilot mortgages. So, you know, it just so it happens that this IDA thinks it important to have this additional security feature that runs in favor of the municipalities. And this IDA insists on receiving it. And as you know, a mortgage doesn't necessarily need to be signed by the recipient, but because municipalities are involved, it is good form for you to be aware of it and to see it, and it really is your acknowledgement that is being sought.
All right, I understand how you feel about that, but well, I'm not gonna sign anything that I don't thoroughly understand, and I think the board's behind me on that. So we're gonna need a little more information, a little more time, and we will discuss it when we understand more. Thank
And
you.
I would like to also add that we are here to obviously answer any questions on behalf of the IDA and try to be as helpful as possible in the process.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have a discussion about a flex spending program.
Hey, good evening, members of the town board. So today I just wanted to begin a discussion about the town of Austining moving our flex spending program to a different company. For a couple of years now, we've been using 90-degree benefits. And, you know, as we're diving into budget meetings, we ran into a bit of trouble with them last year. being that their rates dramatically increased to what was previously what the previously fees had been. So just to kind of give you a background, all of our full-time employees are allowed to sign up for our flex spending program. It is part of our Teamsters and our CSCA contracts that we offer such program. And this is basically pre-taxed money that you're allowed to put into an FSA account. You get a card and you basically set for anything related to health wise, anything you need. For example, if you log into the Walgreens app, I know a lot of it says if you want a white contact solution, it falls under the FSA account. So with this in mind, we don't have a lot of employees that actually take advantage of this program. However, the rates just seem to be dramatically increasing for 90-degree benefits. So between 2002 to 2003, 2003, the rate had been $75 with a renewal fee of $400 to run the program under 90-degree benefits. We did run into a bit of trouble with them last year due to communication errors on their part. And that kind of allowed us to keep the $75 monthly fee for running the program. We still had to pay the $400. It was an increase from $300. And this year we went and again, we ran into a little bit of trouble with them again because of communication issues, which I think now for the second or third time we've asking them to resolve and we don't know where that's going to lead to. But we did finally get what their fees are going to be for 2025, and they're asking for a $100 renewal. But this time around $100 to run the program every month. With that in mind, that is a $25 increase. We currently only have 4 employees that are participating in the program. And one of those employees is probably going to drop off of it. So we're basically down to 3 employees, and it's costing us, $1,200 per year to run it, plus the $400 for the renewal fee. With this in mind and the fact that we've had a lot of communication issues with them since I began in this position, I've decided to contact other different municipalities to see what they've been using. And the program that came very, very highly recommended from the town of Cortland was the Life Benefits Flex Spending Program. The benefit with them is that there's no annual renewal fee. So off the bat, we already get $500 off. We save $400. They're for this year, for 2025, they're asking just a 75 minimum. So that would keep us at the same rate that we've been paying now. We wouldn't see an increase. Additionally, they don't charge any of our employees to get their cards, and rather than getting 1 card, they get 2 cards. So one for themselves and then for any other dependent that they may have under them. Additionally, based on the town of Cortland, they're very, very, very have high communication. If there's any problems, they have people to discuss immediately, which is something we haven't really been fortunate enough to have with this other company. It usually takes a couple days to get a response back to them. We did run into an issue with them at the beginning of the year that we really didn't get resolved until almost halfway through the year. So that's kind of the communication troubles we've been having. The only thing that's kind of like the expenses are kind of balancing off is due to like IRS regulations. Every 5 years, we do have to have a plan in place that basically states how our flex spending is run. This was actually the 5th year that we had to do it. So the 90-degree benefits went ahead and did it without us knowing, went ahead and created a plan for us, which is where, again, I mentioned the communication problems came from. And on top of that, we're responsible for paying that fee for a document that we didn't even know was being created on our behalf.
Request, yeah.
Yes. So because we'd be moving into this new program, we would have to be paying them that amount of money to create a new plan. And then, within 5 years, we paid again. Their rate is lower for creating the plan as of right now, based on their numbers. So again, this is just very like early kind of steps. I have emailed this over to our comptroller, and she's looking at it right now to see, just on the surface, on paper wise, we're going to be saving money if we switch over to this new program. And the added benefit that I was talking with Life Benefit is, since they are a new vendor that would be coming in, it would be a great opportunity for them to come and speak directly to our employees and kind of make them aware, like, hey, this program is here. You may want to sign up for it. These are the positives, these are the negatives, et cetera, like why you would want to do it. And hopefully we'd get more people to sign up for the program, which would kind of justify the cost of what we pay monthly to run it.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be discussing, like, again, this is the early steps. I've met with Life Benefits with Christopher. He's been very helpful in answering our questions. So I'm gonna be putting the contract back together and I'll send it to you, Chrissy, for review. And then we'll move from there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
one thing,
After
Martha,
we vote
so
on it.
if we get more participation from our employees, right, is there a max how many people can sign up, or we just, I think I saw $3.50 a person that would sign up?
Yes, so the way the minimum we have to pay is $75 under life
Every month.
benefit. The only reason why we would end up paying more is if we have more employees. So like each person, like you said, costs $3.50. So if we get more than the $3.50 times whatever to equal the 75, then we would pay more.
Over
More
that,
than
okay.
25.
More than 25, yeah. But at
But you
this
don't
point in
foresee
time.
that right now.
No, as of right now, like I said, we only have 4 employees in the plan. So we would need a couple dozen more people to sign up for it in order. So we're looking at basically $75 per month. And one person's leaving, so, yeah. So that's basically it. So,
It's 75 per month for the town or
Yes.
not per person?
no, for the
Okay,
town.
Okay.
Mhm.
We have to provide that plan, right?
Yes, it's
We're
under our
legally required-
Teamsters and our
we're not-
CSCI
We're
contract.
not legally required to use that same person.
Yep.
Mhm.
Good
But-
choice, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Matt,
looking
do you have
into
a
it and
question?
working.
Yeah, okay, so we'll be looking at the contracts and putting up for your vote approval sometime either by our next board meeting or the following one after that.
Thank you. All right, last, but definitely not least, we lost Councilman Northern Wiltshire, very recently. And he spent a good portion of his life dedicating it to community service, not, well, to our town and to many other organizations, his church, the Masons, and he is well loved throughout the community, as evidenced by the crowd at his memorial. I'm proposing to have a memorial bench and tree put somewhere in the community for Northern, and I did identify a tree that I thought would be fitting because it's a stately tree. Um, I was looking at a bur oak. And it is a keystone species, a plant that many animals rely on for their food. The biggest, most dominant tree in the forest, so it sets the tone and structure. It upholds the ecology locally, both plants and animals. It's salt tolerant. If we want to put it at the riverfront, it's a strong tree, it's a tall tree. And it's native to the area, so I thought that would be a fitting tree to plant with a bench for shade. I don't know which park we want to add it to. We can do the riverfront if we wanted to. It's all tolerant. We have to see. We did lose some trees, but there are benches. We'd want a bench for him.
Yeah.
And it could be Cedar Lane. I mean, he was instrumental all throughout the town. I do believe the village wants to do something as well, but we all cared deeply. So does anybody have any thoughts on trees? Or, I'm guessing we're all in
Yeah.
agreement. We want to do this, but
Yes,
any positioning thoughts?
take your
We'll
recommendation
work
on
with
the
the
tree.
Parks Department and
Sounds like a great choice
Yeah,
for,
big
for a
choice.
great man.
Well deserved.
okay. And of course, I will double check with the family as well.
Yes.
Okay, well, that brings all of the agenda items to a close.
Check.
Check. The nicest one for last. So, motion to adjourn till
Second,
October 8th for our legislative
Exact.
session. And yes, exact. Sorry, short. For personnel, for advice of counsel, and for contracts.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I wish everyone a happy, sweet, healthy new year. Lashana Tova.